I recently got a call from Jasmine, who had been feeling upset and worried that her insecurity and neediness was going to destroy her new relationship. She had been dating a man named Michael for almost a month, and Michael was charming and handsome and successful. She said they had a magical chemistry and that they always had a great time when they were together. But in between their dates, she would start to feel anxious if she hadn't heard from him in the morning or if he was silent for several hours during the day. She said it was like needing to get a refill of his attention, or she would start to feel empty and lonely inside. Or if he took longer than usual to respond, she would start worrying that something was wrong. And Jasmine admitted that she was desperately wanting to connect with Michael when she felt that way, but she wouldn't allow herself to text or call him. That's because in her last relationship, she would excessively call and text her boyfriend. She would even drive by his home and workplace to make sure he was where he said he was. It was these behaviors that led to the demise of her relationship, and she vowed to never act insecure or needy in a relationship again. But now, instead, Jasmine would keep score and pay attention to how long it took him to respond to her texts. And she would wait just as long to return his. She would also make him pursue her. She would try to appear busy and sometimes tell him that she had plans when she really didn't. Still, she realized that her behaviors did not represent her genuine feelings, and she hated the fact that her mood, good or bad, was so dependent on feeling connected with Michael. So, this is where it gets interesting. Last month, Jasmine didn't even know who Michael was. But today, his good morning text, or lack of text, had the power to completely change her mood. But why? I guess that's the million-dollar question. Is it because she was in love with him after just 3 weeks? Probably not. The likely reason is because Jasmine has an anxious and insecure attachment style. She becomes attached very quickly, and Michael activates her attachment system. To make matters worse, Michael has more of an avoidant attachment style and has difficulty talking about his feelings. He's also good at sending mixed messages. In fact, he was not even comfortable committing to a date too far in advance. Now, does this story sound familiar to you? If so, keep watching, because the anxiety and insecurity associated with this is not only unhealthy for you, it usually leads to your partner wanting to abandon you. It's like the thing you fear the most is exactly what your behavior will bring about. So before you let that happen to you, here are the warning signs to look out for. Number 1. You are preoccupied with the relationship and it consumes a large part of your emotional energy. This includes feeling anxious when you've gone a few hours without hearing from him. And that's even when you know he's working. Or you get anxious if he doesn't respond right away and you start worrying that something's wrong. And this feeling doesn't go away until you get a clear indication from him that he is there for you and that the relationship is safe. This anxiety also interferes with your ability to accomplish your daily responsibilities. In other words, you don't complete your work or your school responsibilities because you're consumed by these thoughts. Number 2, you become a chameleon in your relationship because you're always trying to please him. Remember the movie Runaway Bride? In the film, Maggie is a woman who becomes famous for leaving 3 different fiancés at the altar as she runs away at the last minute. In the movie, we find out that Maggie was always trying to please her boyfriends and would adjust her interests to mimic those of each of them. This is revealed in the cooking scene when she realizes that she doesn't even know how she likes her eggs cooked because she had always gone along with what her boyfriends liked.
Yes, lost. You were so lost you didn't even know what kind of eggs you like.
Essentially, here's what's happening. Anxiously attached partners tend to make their significant other their whole world. This means that they won't feel secure enough to have their own interests, especially ones that don't include the other person. So they go along with and engage in whatever interest their significant other has. The problem is that this is just not sustainable for very long. I mean, if you don't like fishing, you can't expect yourself to be going on fishing trips every weekend because you'll be miserable. Number 3. You give up your own needs to meet his. It's natural for partners to meet each other's needs. However, it is unhealthy when you are the one making all the sacrifices without getting much in return. And oftentimes, he hasn't even asked you to make those sacrifices. For example, you give up your weekly girls' night out because your boyfriend doesn't have plans on that night. Again, he didn't even ask you to give that night up, but you decided to do it because you thought it would please him if you were available to hang out with him. Number 4, you no longer spend time with your family and friends. Have you got to the point in a new relationship where your friends are starting to complain that they never see you anymore? It's very common and happens to many people when they get into new relationships. But it's important for you and for the relationship that you have your independent social life and maintain those relationships. And staying in contact with friends via text or phone calls is not the same. Meeting up and connecting with people face to face means that you value those relationships and continue to strengthen those bonds of friendship. And to have a stable and healthy relationship with your partner, you both need to hang out with friends and family and not just with each other. By doing this, not only are you nurturing yourself, you're nurturing your relationship too. By the way, is this something that you're guilty of doing? If so, why do you let it happen? Leave a comment below and let's talk about that. Number 5, you don't like doing things alone anymore. Instead, you're always inviting him because you feel incomplete without him. While it's natural to want to spend a lot of time with your partner, feeling stressed out because they aren't around isn't good. Here's an example. Your girlfriends are planning a girls' night out and they have to specifically tell you that your boyfriend is not invited because they know that if they don't say that, chances are high that he will show up sometime during the night. Number 6, you constantly stalk his social media like a private detective. Have you found yourself scanning through his old pictures and checking his timeline or even checking out the profile of every person who liked his latest post? This becomes a problem when you get obsessed with checking to see who's commenting and liking his stuff. And you start analyzing and trying to understand their connection based on the history of liking one another's posts. That's unhealthy social media stalking, and if it's compromising your independence and making you anxious, you've gone too far. Number 7, you need constant reassurance of love and affection. Now, it's normal to want to know how your significant other feels about you. However, constantly asking them how they feel for reassurance is a big problem. If this is you, then you probably ask multiple times. Do you love me? How much do you love me? Are you sure? You probably also need to have constant affection from him, such as kisses and holding hands, etc. Okay, those are the signs, but what's going on here? Well, the signs I just talked about describe the experiences of a person who has a very sensitive and anxious attachment style. And when they get involved in a romantic relationship, they often have a perpetual feeling as though things are on the cusp of falling apart. They're always on the lookout for the signs that things are going wrong and that the relationship is about to come crashing down all around them. That's because it's difficult for them to believe completely that their partner values them or their relationship. And so, they need reassurance over and over again. They need to know that yes, everything is fine. Yes, I love you. The problem is, this insecurity and these mini accusations that something's wrong all take their toll on your partner and can quickly turn from annoyance to active resentment. This can become overbearing for your partner and will likely lead to the demise of your relationship. See, looking to your partner to reassure you when we feel insecure only leads to more insecurities. Remember, feeling secure comes from inside of you, and if you don't feel worthy, if you don't know your value, it won't matter how smart or sexy or worthy or attractive your partner tells you that you are, it just won't stick, and you'll need more and more reassurance to temporarily fill you up again. That's why you must strive to feel okay within yourself. You need to love yourself and accept who you are. Then you can be fully accepting of the love and affection that your partner directs towards you. Again, it comes from within, not from looking to your partner at every turn for reassurance to prove you're okay. So, what can you do if you find that you are anxiously attached or even obsessive with your relationship? Does that mean that you must detach from your partner entirely in order to be healthy? Not at all. This is not an all or nothing thing. There is a healthy middle ground, and that means having balance. It means knowing yourself, including what you like and what you dislike, what you can tolerate and expect from a partner, and being able to stand up for yourself and sometimes put yourself first. It means cultivating self-love and using it as a foundation for a healthy relationship. But, as we discussed before, practicing self-love in the context of a new relationship is often easier said than done. The good news is that, like any relationship, strengthening your relationship with yourself and practicing self-love is something that you can learn to do. So, if you're interested in learning more about practicing self-love, click here to watch this video now, or click below to subscribe and hit the bell notification to become part of our notification squad. I'll see you in the next video.